I like. I think that looks great.
And then I had this one too, but I don't like that one as much.
With the glasses down, it's
It's better.
it's better. Yeah, for sure. Morgan, how you feeling?
I told you. I had a feeling about that game.
Bailey Zappi actually looked good for them, for the Pats. Like
Who won?
Packers won.
No. Shocker.
7-24 in OT. They didn't cover though, not a great team, just a good.
Do you think that is a warning sign of things to come because they couldn't even beat the fucking Patriots?
No, the Patriots have a really good defense.
Yeah.
No, they do.
But they suck though.
I don't think they suck. I think they had the wrong quarterback.
I was gonna say I think Zappy looked pretty good.
How about my boy
Not, but
Cooper Rush?
But yeah, so just for everybody,
4-0.
we're gonna go in with our intro real quick. We're having no weekly wrap up. We'll just touch on our NFL teams really quick before we get into our podcast today, which is a recap of the 30 for 30 podcast, the longest baseball game. Is that the name of it?
I think it's the longest game.
The longest game. You guys can find that on ESPN. Just go into anywhere you listen to podcasts, just type in longest game. It happened in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, where Nick and I, happened to grow up right around that area. So we're excited to talk about the local stuff and how much it meant to us growing up, having the Paw Sox right there in town. But before we get into that, make sure you guys are subscribed to us on YouTube. Make sure you guys give us a 5-star review whenever you're listening to us. Give us a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube and tell your friends about us. So we're actually having a topic tonight, but no weekly wrap up. So we'll start with our football teams first. Morgan, Packers win. You're a happy guy?
Yeah, I mean, as happy as I can be. I mean, they didn't play great.
Hmm.
Rodgers playing tight because he doesn't trust any of the receivers to.
They're starting to loosen up a little bit, though.
About Rodgers throwing that pick six, though. Not a great look.
That was a great read by the DB.
I mean, it was a great play. I watched it and I was like, fuck, man, that guy nabbed it.
he ran the route for Lazard. He was like, excuse me, let me take that.
Oh, shit. I think that was supposed to be for me.
Sprinting the other way.
Outside the refs trying to hand the Patriots the game,
I knew that was coming up with the delay game. I knew the second it happened.
Delay game? I fucking took a nap before they snapped that ball. And I was driving.
Morgan, I can picture Morgan sitting there having his phone on, just swearing while he's driving on the highway in Georgia.
You got the NFL Network app set to the sound.
You motherfuckers throw the fucking flag!
And I thought the Brady one last week was not great. This one was like, hello.
Yeah, not great. But hey, they got the job done at the end of the day. That's all that matters, right?
I mean, yeah.
You and I,
the record's all that matters. That's it.
3-1 is 3-1. You and I are in a battle fantasy wise.
I know. I still got 6 to play.
I don't even know. My fantasy's probably going to split this week, I think.
Yeah, I mean, for you, Morgan, it really depends on Brady and Evans tonight. If Brady hooks up with Evans once or twice, it's over.
Made the right choice. I was going to put Cooper Rush in. Didn't. Still, he won. They won, but not great fantasy wise.
Yeah, I mean, let's just talk about, me just
having 17 points.
My team is just taking turns, deciding who wants to go off. This week happened to be TJ Hawkinson for me.
Nice.
But at least this week, I'm going to split minimum 1-1. So
I think me and you are still going to be 1-2. So
yeah, I'm going 1-1 this week, no matter what, unless I beat Morgan somehow. So, but Nick, your Cowboys, Cooper Rush, 4-0.
Boom. Yeah, I say keep him as a starting QB. Bye, Dak.
I mean,
if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Thing is with Cooper Rush, he was making the throws to big plays and big first downs and stuff and consistent. It's
he's got big balls.
Do you sit back and now that you sign that Dak contract and you're like, fuck me?
I would honestly just go with Cooper Rush.
I mean, the thing is Dak Prescott is getting Dak Prescotted. This is what happened with Romo, and now it's happening with Dak, and it's hey
man, I mean,
geez,
you got to go with what's best.
Yeah, I mean,
here's what you do: is you take Dak, you leave Cooper Rush as your starter, and you bring Dak back as a running back.
I don't think he's fast enough, to be honest.
I don't think he's fast enough.
Strong enough. I mean, Taysom Hill can run the ball.
Never bring up Taysom Hill in this podcast again.
But no, I think Cooper Rush is killing it right now.
Yeah, for sure.
And starter.
That's That's like a real nice fallback.
I mean, for sure. You guys are 3-1, right? Or 2-2. No, they're 3-1 because he started. Yeah. I mean, you guys are right on Philly's ass in the NFC East. I mean, it's gonna be a dogfight, wild card, very possible. I'd be remiss also if I didn't talk about Santa's New York Giants. I mean, they could. I mean,
What about him?
it was the Bears today, but Saquon is looking like Saquon again.
Saquon?
Yeah, Saquon. He's looking good, so I'm happy for him. And then, before we get into our podcast review, my Jags did go down today in Philly. Didn't go well, but they started off hot. But I just think
I was gonna say early on.
it was
a little.
It was 14-0, and then Trevor Lawrence had a hard time in the rain. And the second I saw it pouring rain, I was like, "Ah, geez, this doesn't bode well for us." But
cats don't like water. So.
It's true. But hey, you know what? We didn't lose by more than double digits. Philly's a really good team, so to keep it that close, I guess, but
it doesn't matter whether you win by an inch.
Sure, a mile. Winning's winning. I get that. But hey, 2-2, 500 at this point. If you would have told me the Jags are 500 after the first month of football, I would have taken it. So,
I mean, that's what losers say.
Yeah, that's just something.
Well, yeah, we're the fucking Jaguars. I've been telling you we're a year away.
First of all, you've been spouting off at the mouth about how frisky these fucking Jaguars are.
Pretty sure you said you were going to be unbearable tonight if they won.
You did.
I did say that, but
God,
they didn't
thank God.
So here we are.
Thank God
not unbearable. You guys can deal with me tonight.
Well, that's up for debate.
Fair enough. All right, let's dip into this podcast here. So this podcast we listen to is the longest baseball game in history. Which, for reference, I don't remember the year off the top of my head. Nick, do you have it?
The year? 1981.
1981 took place
in Pawtucket. Against the Pawtucket Red Sox versus the Rochester Red Wings.
It was Easter Eve, a Saturday night in Pawtucket. And this game went 33 innings long. In this game, two future Hall of Famers, one of us a podcast favorite in Wade Boggs, and the other one, Cal Ripken, playing for the Rochester team.
Which Morgan loves Cal Ripken Jr. So.
Yeah, Morgan, Wade Boggs, it's 2-3 or 2-1 on Wade Boggs on this podcast.
Yeah, even though you, Matt, with the deciding vote, gave Wade Boggs the loss against Tony Gwynn, but whatever.
Yeah, but that's against Tony Gwynn, not against Cal Ripken. Now we're going against Cal Ripken.
Yeah, but you were like, oh, Tony Gwynn, blah blah. Even though Wade Boggs is cooler, but then who did you give the Nomar Pejoria one to? Pejoria, you gave it to Nomar because he's cooler. So fuck.
Listen.
You're saying there's no consistency.
Take your collusion argument somewhere else, okay?
There's no consistency. You gave it to Boggs. You give it to Gwynn over Boggs.
Now you're going off topic. You're going off topic here. Let's
not off topic. It's Boggs. Boggs is never off topic for one.
Fair. Let's go into this game. So we're going to give you the final result of the game. The Paw Sox ended up winning this game 3-2 sometime in June after the original game played in April. So do we want to start from the beginning of the podcast and then go through?
Yeah,
kind of just bounce around.
Tarantino it?
Yeah.
All right. So yes, the game ended 3-2 on it began on April 18th and ended on June 23rd. Dave Koza, the winning RBI.
The ultimate team guy per the podcast.
Yep. And let's go back to the beginning because the stuff about Dave Koza is very sad to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we go back to the beginning. This is just a normal baseball game that, goes 9 innings and then continuously progresses through the night. And there was a rule that was supposed to be in the umpire's handbook that said there's a curfew at 12:50 p.m. Baseball will not be played after 10 or 12:50 a.m. Excuse me. And this umpire wasn't in his rule book, so he said, "Fuck that curfew."
And here's the crazy thing:
we're playing ball.
So, from what the podcast says and the research, within the years of like 1980 to 1982, for some reason, this curfew page was taken out of the umpire's handbooks.
Correct.
So the stars kind of aligned. Was it conspiracy?
I
never know.
Hey man, I think it was the baseball gods. They said on this beautiful, beautiful, cold April night in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, we're gonna have the longest baseball game in history.
But yeah, the pages were missing from their books. Like not like missing, like they ripped him out either. Like the printing.
And
Didn't
really
get it.
quick, I'm sure you guys have it written down. The announcer for the Rochester Red Wings that had the inkling to tell his wife, sweetie, keep recording this game because I just have a weird feeling about it.
And she recorded over like Elvis.
Elvis, and you can hear him in the background of the tapes.
And on the you got to go check out the podcast if you're listening
It's
to this.
super. The old ads, really quick, awesome. Like the Coca-Cola ads, I found myself like riding the bike, just being like this.
Amazing.
Like, amazing.
Yeah, they replay like her tapes, and it's like the ghost of Elvis Presley
Yeah,
singing in the background. It's so eerie.
eerie, creepy, just like awesome. It's just like the first-hand accounts from that game are so incredible. Like the mother trying to because this is back before cell phones, internet, whatever. The mother calling the police, being like, "Where's my son?" Because he went with the umpire, correct?
Yes.
He went with the ump, so he was one of the 27 people still sitting in the stands in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, at McCoy Stadium, watching this game go into the hours of like almost 4 a.m.
Yep. I think I read it was halted at 4:09.
Because they finally got the commissioner to be like, stop the fucking game.
Yeah, the president of baseball, Harold Cooper at the time, halted it. It was like, all right, we're done.
I think you should have kept playing till dawn.
The umpire literally, like, they were like, hey, this is the rules. And he's like, I don't fucking give a shit.
Yep, was like, eat shit, you're playing ball.
But they were going in like so late, like they said the fatigue was getting in. They were, all right, one of the craziest parts of the story to me, they were like chopping off pieces of the dugout bench and throwing it into fire.
Breaking bats to keep make a fire like in a trash can in the dugout.
That's crazy.
Nick and I can attest to this. We've been to McCoy many a nights. If once it gets late, it gets windy.
It's cold.
It's cold. Like
okay. It gets cold around here in New England.
I was gonna say you're down like Pawtucket's pretty close to Providence, which is right on the water. Like you get that ocean breeze in there. It's just like if you're from Portland and you're at the Sea Dogs game. It gets cold those April nights, like if you're at a ball game. And man, oh man, I can't imagine like the 27 people that stayed there. Incredible determination.
Those are the real ones.
Those are the ones that were rising with Jesus on Easter. I'll say that much.
And like as you listen to the story, there's also a great book written on it. But as you listen to the podcast, it's like they're just like, what the fuck are we doing? It's Easter, like right now, like we're playing and like still gotta go home, like all this shit.
Play the next day, like
crazy, absolute craziness.
Morgan, what'd you find the most interesting about
it? Just the anticlimactic finish on the June game.
Yeah,
thousands of people are showing up, all the media coverage, and it goes in it.
And that's the thing, though. It's like Nick was saying, it's the perfect storm. Baseball was on strike. So there was no MLB. So it was the perfect storm for this to be the center of the baseball world. Goes one inning.
Dave Koza, who I'm reading here, entered the game as the best hitter of the contest, 4 for 13. He's the best hitter. 4 for 13 on the game.
Who was it? Ripken said, yeah, I hit an RBI single, which made me 2 for like
it made my 1 for 11 day a little bit better.
I was 2 for 12. Like what,
dude? You know, like you get when you listen to the podcast, you get the sense that like around like I don't know, like the 17th inning, they all start to lose interest. Like people are just like striking out to strike out or whatever. Like they don't give a fuck. But this dude, Dave Koza, comes in 4 for 13, and on a 2, what it says here on a 2-2 count curveball from the reliever Cliff Speck hits the ball and gave the Red Sox a 3-2 victory. And it was like
he talked about it on the podcast. He goes, I never hit the curveball well.
And you never, and then just that was it.
That was it.
He was the king of baseball for like a day.
For a day.
I think they had him on like a late night show.
No, he went on Good Morning America.
Good Morning America.
Him and Cal Ripken Jr. were on Good Morning America together.
They
Weird.
they just
pairing,
like really centered around him, and then the Red Sox are like, we're all set.
Yeah.
Never played. It's sad. Like
I think this game being at the AAA level is the perfect epitome of minor league baseball. Being this close to the show, especially at the AAA level, you're a step away. Being this close to the show and still as good as you are, not being able to make that last step into the show.
you know what the thing about this game is too is like, sorry, the thing about this game, like being like you said, AAA level, is nobody wanted to quit
No,
because this is to the next step.
this
This
is
is the MLB, dude. This would never happen in the MLB.
No.
These dudes would just like stop.
well, I mean, they would just give up a home run like they do for pool.
That's it. That's what I
Right.
mean. Like, they would just like fucking throw the
Hey,
game. That's it.
hey, take this 81-mile-an-hour slider over the plate and hit it fucking 800 feet. Thanks,
But
bro.
these dudes are all like trying their hardest to get noticed and make the next step, and like none of them gave in.
None of them gave in. I mean, having Wade Boggs and Cal Ripken on the podcast was pretty cool to hear. Like their kind of accounts. Yeah. And
What's
then
even crazier is like having two of the greatest hitters the game has ever seen, and neither of them affected the outcome of the game. I think Wade Boggs made a good play. Cal Ripken was kind of like non-existent in it.
he had 3 diving plays in late innings at third base in 3 straight innings. Wade Boggs, like, who is he known for his glove? No, but like
No.
him diving on that, you know how much it must have hurt to go on that fucking dirt to dive for those balls.
That cold, dude.
That
That's
cold,
hard ground.
That is hard ground, especially. I mean, you're in a cold area anywhere in this country where that ground is frozen. It is not fun. Yeah.
I think it's like, to put it lightly, it's a fucking crazy story.
Yeah.
Like, it's nuts. Like that.
100%.
That
I would have
game
been done playing after about the 12th. I'm like, all right, I'm good.
These dudes like would not stop. And like in the podcast, they play a couple recordings for the game, and it's like a strike or a line out, and the crowd is just like, fuck.
Bro, really quick, I want to talk about that because you're talking about the broadcast. Joe Morgan was the Paw Sox manager.
Yeah.
And anybody that knows Joe Morgan, ESPN announcer, Hall of Fame second baseman for the Reds, RIP. One of my favorite announcing booths is him and John Miller. But him yelling, you can hear him clear over the broadcast, losing his shit at the ump.
It's hilarious.
And
these dudes in the booth are like hopped up on coffee.
Hopped up on coffee. They're like, oh yeah, that's our last coffee since an hour ago, the last 3 innings. So,
they were like, this is our 7th cup of the hour.
Also, the right fielder who threw the guy out at home.
Dude.
They ask him the question, did you think about just throwing it over the backstop? And he just scoffs at him like, no.
Why would I do that?
Why would I do that? Like, this is
dude, like, he could have ended this game hours before. No,
living and dying for that shit. And that's like what, minor league baseball. Honestly, it reminds me of like being a kid playing baseball and just like not wanting to lose that bad.
It's the story was crazy. Like, it's a real quick 45-minute-ish listen.
I literally texted you after saying thank you for like bringing this up. And like, it was an awesome listen.
It's such a crazy story, and to transition into like us growing up around here, we've been to McCoy and stuff, and it's like to have that part of the history has always been cool. To know that you were the team that's played the longest game that, like, let's be honest, will ever be played. Yeah,
just sitting in that stadium, you're like, damn, somebody played a baseball game here for 33 innings.
Like, no game will ever go.
No. One of the funniest parts of it was when whatever inning was the 15th, 17th, 21st. I think it was 21st. Where too many innings.
Too many.
4th, 5th, 6th.
Rochester took the lead, and then the fans booed when the Paw Sox tied it.
They were like, you fucking losers.
It was like, bro, I'm ready to go home. Dude, like, all right. So for those of you listening who have been to McCoy Stadium, obviously it's been through some changes since the 80s.
RIP.
Not that many changes, but like
They took the cocaine out of the clubhouse.
Just imagine 25 people left.
And
Nuts.
And just like for reference for people that haven't been to McCoy, just imagine going to the Sea Dog Stadium, there only being 25 people in the stadium. Like,
Yeah.
And you got to imagine 10 of them are probably media.
Yeah. And like, I love the story of, was it Boggs' wife that went in with the owners of the Paw Sox?
I think so.
Like they were drinking. They went in and they were like,
Yeah.
they were covered in blankets in the owner's booth. And they were sitting there. They brought out the scotch and they were just drinking it out of the bottle, watching the game. What's like,
Did they ever say what the temperature was?
I'm guessing if I have to get minimum like 35, like, I mean, maximum temp like 35.
I wouldn't even want
When
to
the
hit
first
the ball
game
at that
take
point.
place in April.
April, yeah. It's cold
Probably.
at night. It's like in the 30s. Like,
Yeah,
for
in the
sure.
30s, 40s for sure.
I wouldn't even want to hit the baseball. They're just
Yeah.
We
You guys,
won't catch it. We won't do anything.
you guys give me the date real quick.
18th.
April 18th.
Okay. Year.
1981.
81.
Let's look up the weather
That's what I'm doing.
just for reference.
I'm going to say 41.
Weather April 18th. 81, correct?
81, yeah.
41 degrees.
All
Something
right.
around there. Probably like 46. It might have been, they might have felt cooler back then. It's almost the summer. You're right on the cusp of May, so
It brought me.
it doesn't tell you.
I had to go to a website.
Are you this bad at Googling shit?
All right. So it was 78 that day during the day. And then as it gets into the night, it's down to the 50s.
Yeah.
No, that's not that bad.
That's at 45. I mean, that feels different when you're,
I mean, sure.
It was windy though. Like the wind is like 10
the wind chill
12 miles
is
an hour.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a crazy story.
Crazy. And like obviously the Paw Sox have left Tucket, which fucking blows.
Yeah. I mean, to this day, anybody who knows me in real life knows that I have yet to set foot in Polar Park in Worcester. Never seen it. I probably won't go. I fucking hate that they left. They should have never left. Stupid. Obviously, it's a money thing. Even in the podcast, they mentioned that the Paw Sox being in Pawtucket was always such a great night out. And it was such an easy night out.
It's affordable for the family.
It's
Like-
dude. Back when I was younger, obviously it would be cheaper when this podcast came out, like when that happened. But when I was younger, $7, $8 a ticket. The concessions were not crazy,
No.
and
You're
it was
not-
just a good night out. And they used to do fireworks every night.
And you had Dell's Lemonade in the park. I mean, come on, man. Like,
So for them to leave, and now for like people in the area who have grown up with that to have to like uproot their day and drive almost a fucking hour to Worcester.
and I mean, I
go
think
to a
out
game- and the
Worcester-
tickets are cheap. The tickets are way more expensive.
I think they made like Worcester more like businessy too. Which
Well, the draw was that Worcester is like on the up of the brewery cities in America.
yeah,
There's like a bunch of breweries, bunch of craft beer bars and shit. So that was their main pull. It was
Yeah.
like, hey, people are gonna go. I've heard the ballpark's gorgeous.
I'm sure it is.
I've heard nothing but great things about it. I don't know. Something about it. Something
Maybe-
growing up with it.
Maybe this summer you and I can go and we could just boo the whole time.
I will. I'll boo.
Just go all decked out in Paw Sox gear.
And the Woo Sox is such a fucking bad name. It's so
I don't know.
stupid.
Blue Sox or Guardians? Which one's worse?
Woo Sox is worse, dude. Woo
Woo
Sox
Sox.
is worse.
Who Sox hurts my
Sounds-
soul more.
Fucking stupid. Their logo, like I get the hat one is the W with the heart, which is like why? It looks like it's like a hospital team hat. But their like logo, like the smiley face,
Looking like
The-
a Walmart smiley face,
the
the old
fucking
Wolfpack
knee
smiley face.
high socks on and shit. Like Get the fuck out of here, dude. I read that the reason they used the smiley face is because the guy who invented the smiley face, the yellow one, back in like the 70s or whatever, is from Worcester.
Cool.
But like, I don't give a shit.
I'm gonna get a bunch of Woo Sox merch.
And it's weird. Like, you know what's
Why do you
crazy
do
too?
this?
Is it's for Polar Seltzer.
Yeah.
The fact that it's Polar Park
And they wear
their
the paw socks.
mascot used to be a
To be a
polar
polar
bear
bear.
is like a kick in the dick.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
it used to be such a great.
I bet,
night
I
out.
bet they don't have Dells in there anymore.
I bet you they don't. I fucking hope they don't. Dell's better never let them sell that shit there.
Never. Never, ever.
I'll never forgive the Paw Sox for that. Well, you know, I'll forgive them, but not the owners.
Yeah, not the actual Red Sox. But yeah, it was a super great podcast, super cool listen. I know we are on a time restraint tonight because we had the Packers playing in overtime. Nick's getting a new tattoo of Wendy Peppercorn. He's got to go to that.
Heifer.
Peppercorn.
Never say her name.
Heifercorn.
Peppercorn. Holy fucking shit. Is there anything else you guys want to touch on really quick? Because I have something.
Yeah, I have a sports story. I texted you guys earlier. I just want to talk about it for a second.
Which one?
125 people died in Indonesia when in a soccer game when the team charged the field for the opposing team and created a stampede that killed over 100 people.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Soccer fans are built different, man.
Could you imagine being at a soccer game and you're like, look, first of all, yeah, I would never even go to one.
Yeah.
But like, you're like, wow, I bet what's the over under on the amount of us that are going to die tonight? Somebody could say 2 and you'd be like,
I don't know. Soccer has a history of like rioting. So I
You
probably
could
put the over under like 10.
most games,
If you- if-
2.5, you take the under.
I'm taking the over, man.
This over under was at
I might take
28
the over.
and they hammered the over. Holy shit, dude.
I don't know if this is a too soon joke, but as
They
part of
called
my
up to the
take,
booth, said, "Nah, we need more."
I don't know if this is a too soon joke, but as part of my take would say life is too short not to take the over. So
Yeah, I mean, you hammer it.
And their life is unfortunately over.
yes.
And you have to think somebody on that field is responsible for killing 3 people, so he got a hat trick.
Okay.
You gotta hope it's just a cramp, Jim.
Yeah. That's crazy though. All right. Jokes aside, that's nuts.
That is nuts. Scary.
Like 125 people at one event. Has that even happened during like a shooting at a concert? Besides the Las Vegas one.
Vegas was 50. I literally heard the number today.
50.
52.
So this is like which is the most people to die at an event?
I don't know. Like,
That's
it's a lot.
like sick.
It is. Bro.
125 people
And
that they knew of at the time
And
I
it's,
read the
and it's stampede too. Like just like
You got
run over with
crushed.
no regard. Yeah, like
like nobody will ever know who did
Bro.
it. How
Yeah.
do you even like what do you even
You-
do?
you see,
There's
like
no like
you decipher through footage and try to identify people. I get like I don't fucking know.
and
Like
the thing is like there's been no footage accompanied by the story. It's no firsthand shit. Like how do you even like go about like
your guess.
handling that situation? That's
Your
No,
guess.
I might call Cap on it then. There's no video.
Yeah, your yeah.
Pixar didn't happen.
Your, your guess is as good as mine.
That's
All right.
that's crazy.
I kind of want to end this podcast with a mini rant talking about this Aaron Judge home run record, even though we did talk about it on Thursday. Nick Arno of Rounding Third Podcast had a status about it, and there was somebody that commented under there saying, "Well, Maris did it without any steroids."
I know who you're talking about.
And my I literally had my entire response typed up, and I was like, "You want to know what? It's not worth it. I'll save it for the podcast." So, if you want to crown Roger Maris the home run king, you can't. Black people weren't playing in the MLB. People of color weren't playing in the MLB. There was still a color barrier.
Yes, they were. Black people
No,
were
they,
there.
no, they were not. Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in 46. Roger Maris broke that record in like 40.
61.
Right? Oh, 61. Oh, well, I'm wrong. So how about that?
They played Roger Maris had black teammates.
Well, then I'm wrong. So then my argument goes out the window. How about that?
But kind of to that point though, like
Like,
discounting Bonds' records because of steroids all right, then I'm taking away, who is it? Cy Young's wins record. I'm taking away.
Well, to that point, though, then you're taking away Babe Ruth's 60 home runs. You're taking away Joe DiMaggio's hit streak. You're taking away all this shit. You're trying to rewrite history as it fucking goes.
I am like,
baseball is a fucking sport that has had fucking issues about it throughout its entire time, and nobody benefited off the steroid era more than fucking baseball. Nobody.
definitely when it comes to viewership.
And I'm just like, I'm sick of these.
Bonds, McGuire, and Sosa saved baseball.
I'm sick of these people being fucking martyrs, being like, Roger Maris did it without steroids. You want to know who actually, if you really want to go back and look at their career statistics, you would be like, oh, that's kind of weird. He jumped up to 61 home runs. I wonder how he did that. Is Roger fucking Maris? I think his highest home run total was like low 40s before that. Like,
mid-60s not that far off 40 when you think about
it. It's like fucking 40% more essentially, or 30% more.
Okay, so what does Shohei Ohtani have this year for home runs? In the 30s?
32, I think.
What do you have last year? Almost 50. It's still a pretty substantial gap. Doesn't mean he stopped taking anything. Sometimes you just don't. He had 47 last year. I think he's around 35 this year.
I mean,
I just have my issue is how they look at a guy.
Pete Alonso. Look at Pete Alonso.
But they pumped up Brady Anderson so much because he went off one year, and the guy came out of nowhere. And Brady fucking Anderson,
bro. Here's the thing: he had 46 last year and 34 this year. It's not a 20 home run jump.
Well, it's not far off from 20 either.
Saying,
that argument is flawed. People can get better.
They 100% can get better. But then you want to go back and rewrite all this fucking history because, well, this was during the steroid era, and this is when black people weren't allowed to play baseball, and this is that. No, you have one fucking record book. There's no fucking.
The commissioner or president or whatever the fuck he was called back then of baseball, when Roger Maris was breaking the record, did change the records so that Roger Maris would have his record. They did create an American League and a National League record at the time of Roger Maris breaking the record because they didn't want it to taint Babe Ruth's record.
Okay, that's fine. And the thing is with Roger Maris's record, I remember, because of the movie, that it was in a longer season. He hit it in game 162, right? Am I correct?
Yeah, he had more time to beat it.
He had more time to beat it. So that's
why. So they changed the record books.
But the thing, that's not how it should fucking work.
Well, I mean, to an extent. I agree with you. To an extent.
If
all of a sudden next year they had 200 games, you think that counts?
I mean, to a degree.
It doesn't. No, there's no fucking chance it could.
Well, all right.
If you have 160 chances, and hypothetically you were to jump into 200, and somebody hit 83 home runs, you think that counts? You'd have to go back to game 162 and count the home runs they hit to 200 and deduct them. Because that guy never had that opportunity. So to an extent, that makes sense.
All right. So any NFL record that gets broken down in 17 games doesn't belong because it's not in the 16-game season?
Well, then look at the Patriots, look at the Dolphins record, the undefeated.
Well, I mean, one team finished and one team didn't.
Okay, but the Dolphins went undefeated and the Patriots went undefeated in the regular season.
Yeah.
The Patriots had more games, but they tied the record 2 games before that, so they already broke it. So they technically two teams went undefeated, but they would have won undefeated even if they got to 16 games and won, and then went 16-2. They still tied that record.
You won, sure.
Even though they didn't go undefeated.
You won 16 straight games, but you didn't go undefeated. That's why the Dolphins are crowned as the undefeated team.
Okay, but you have to acknowledge that extra games exist.
For sure, but it doesn't. I don't think when it comes to a record book, it should rewrite the record book. And baseball is never going to go to 200 games. So there's that.
Well, I'm using a hypothetical.
Sure, but I don't agree with your hypothetical.
The Patriots 18-0.
18-1.
Well, besides the Super Bowl,
still 18-1. Doesn't matter.
Were they 17-0 then?
It doesn't. Here's the thing, though. It doesn't fucking matter because, like I've always said, you play who's in front of you.
It does matter.
In front of you. And here's the thing. It doesn't. It fucking doesn't because you play. You play the competition you play.
It does matter.
It doesn't matter.
They had an 18-game winning streak. They didn't go
undefeated. They had an 18-game winning streak, but they didn't go undefeated. They didn't break the Dolphins' undefeated season or tie them
because they didn't go undefeated. If the season was shortened, they would have.
No, they wouldn't have, because they still could have lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl.
No.
Yes.
If me and you, all right,
that's
me and you, right?
Literally what happened.
That's literally what. Yes, like that is what happened. Like they had two extra regular season games, and then they played the exact same amount of playoff games, and then they lost in the Super Bowl. So instead of going 17-0 like the Dolphins did, if they didn't have the two regular season games, they would have went 16-1 and lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl.
But they would still going into it be 16-0, so they tied it.
They didn't tie the record is an undefeated season, not the win streak. That's what that's what the Dolphins are known for. Sure, the win streak, correct. But the Dolphins are known for renowned the undefeated season, and the Patriots are.
It's a flawed.
It's not.
Perspective.
It is not, because that's what the games were back then.
Lower your voice.
No.
If I get 10 shots to make a basketball in a hoop, and you get 15. And I get 10, and then you hit your 10, and they get 15, and they say, well, he made the most of all time. I didn't get that chance to make more than you.
But that was the time that you played in. That's the game that you played by that. Okay,
but do you get the record for making more shots than me?
Yes, you do.
I didn't even get a chance.
Then be born later. I don't know what to fucking tell you.
No, it's flawed. It's flawed.
But every record all time in any fucking sport is flawed. That's fucking dumb.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. That's fucking dumb.
No,
Bill Russell's championships don't mean anything because there's only 6 teams in the NBA. I don't want to hear anything about Bill Russell anymore. I don't want to hear anything about Wilt Chamberlain averaging 50 points. I don't want to hear anything about Babe Ruth hitting 60 home runs, fucking facing pitches that hit 80 miles an hour. I don't give a fuck. That is such
You're not right because you're louder. You're not right because you're louder.
And you're not right because you're calmer.
I'm using statistics and facts.
And I am
There's a reason that most people do not take Bill Russell's championships into account when they talk about the greatest players of all time. There's a reason for that. Because the game was so drastically different that you can't compare the eras.
Okay.
You have to understand that.
And you have to understand, I want to see Roger Maris go against the pitchers today. I want to see him face Jacob deGrom and see how he does.
That's different. You're to put him against different talent and to give him more time to break a record are two completely different lines of thinking.
Okay, so see, here's the thing, though. You go back with that, putting him against talent. Bill Russell went against Wilt Chamberlain, who arguably can go across any fucking era as one of the greatest big men of all time, and he beat him consistently.
Yep.
So you
proved my point.
Wait, no. What you just said is like people discount Bill Russell. Like he's still a top 10 player all the time with the championship and everything.
Sure, but when people talk about championships, Michael Jordan went 6-0. What's better, 6-0 or 11 championships, regardless of your losing record?
6-0.
Why?
Because he never lost in the finals.
He also didn't make it 11 times.
So. Morgan, you be the person in the middle, because Nick and I'm going to scream at Nick, and Nick's not going to scream.
You're already screaming.
So here's the big thing is he's talking about takeaway opportunities. How many more home runs would Barry Bonds have if he didn't get walked like 2,000 times in his career?
Sure, but those are in games. It's not like you'd be like, well, how many home runs would he had?
Oh, all right, he got intentionally walked like 800 times. That opportunity was taken away from him.
Well, he didn't get intentionally walked 800 times in a season.
No, but like 110.
Cool.
That's a lot.
But he still has the record. Dude, look, I'm not saying he doesn't have the record.
But you're talking about like opportunities not gained. Barry would have 900 home runs.
Okay, well, you want to talk about a jump in fucking home runs? Go look at Barry Bonds' home runs before the years that he's allegedly taken steroids.
Okay, 35, 40, 40, 35.
And then he just jumps to 70? You want to talk about that?
He went.
So you talk about you. So Matt wants to talk about Roger Maris, who's 40, 30. All of a sudden 61. So nobody's going to talk about Barry Bonds was in the 40s and all of a sudden jumped to 70.
So it went. So let's start in 96. That's when he hit 40 for the first time. I lied. 93 he hit 40 for the first time. So went 46, 37, 33, 42, 40, 37, 34, 49, 73, 46.
Yeah, pretty big fucking jump.
But here's the thing, though. It goes back down. 46, 45, 45. Like, I mean, I've always been the person that's always argued you play who's in front of you. And Like,
the baseball just so notoriously manipulates their record books to what fits their narrative.
Baseball has a stigma attached to it because they have always, back to the fucking Chicago Black Sox, have manipulated the game to make money off of what's going on.
Right. So the way they manipulate all their records almost don't mean anything.
They don't. Like, not really, but like, you're saying Matt started this whole thing saying how like how overblown the judge thing is.
It's very.
It's
I don't
not
think-
though.
I listen, I don't want to take any way.
Well, are they going to manipulate this
Judge.
record so Maris can keep his record and Judge can have his own record?
How
Like,
would they do that?
We're gonna. I don't know. It's baseball. They'll figure
Like,
it out.
here's my thing.
They'll
I'm not
put
gonna-
from 1970 and now, and then 1965.
Well, like,
There's no way
yeah.
right now for any of us to say Aaron Judge is on steroids.
really quick. Well, I mean, hypothetically, it doesn't piss like they piss in a cup, whatever. But hypothetically, what baseball could do, if you really want to be a dickhead about it, the record before steroids was Roger Maris at 61. During the steroid era, which is from this time to this time, is 73 from Bonds, and post steroid era is Aaron Judge at whatever record. So hypothetically, baseball could do it. But I'm not taking away anything from Aaron Judge.
Well, you started this by saying how overblown it was.
No. I think it's overblown that people are calling him like the home run king.
Nobody is saying that.
Yes, they are.
It's a narrative online shit. Nobody is actually saying that. Nobody's like walking around saying like Aaron Judge is the home run king. First of all, how many people in your life do you talk to on a normal basis talk about baseball a lot?
Bro,
Would it be safe to assume not many?
not many. You watch ESPN. Sports writers are calling
This is
him
the-
people.
You prove my point. It's the narrative they're trying to push. Nobody is actually fucking saying that.
Yes, they are.
Nobody is saying
So the writer that's saying it on ESPN is not actually saying it.
He's a writer, dude. That doesn't count. That dude controls the narrative. That's not an actual opinion.
There's people that say it in person online as well, like people that aren't writers.
Wow,
Like,
and there's also people online that say that mermaids are fictional and can't be black. Are they to be taken seriously?
Jesus Christ.
Are they to be taken seriously? Everybody
people
has a
are
voice.
taking this seriously. People
Everybody has
are
a
taking this
voice.
seriously.
Nobody's saying Aaron Judge is the home run king.
Yes, they are.
It's idiotic. It's not even close.
You're right. It is idiotic, but they are saying that.
Not the majority.
Yeah, what you're telling me, what I'm reading, like what I'm seeing with my eyeballs online is not fucking real. So
Not-
like,
you are taking a fraction of the things you see and using it as people are saying this. Most people are not. Most people are not.
okay, agreed.
Out of the three of us here, statistically, who's saying it? None of us. Most people aren't. It's a narrative being pushed. Nobody's really saying that.
Yes, they
And
are.
for the
People are saying that.
and to tack onto it, this is when you get into the whole thing, because they're cutting into other sports and shit like that, that you're getting the casual baseball fan or people who aren't even fans of baseball, who for the most part didn't even know that this was a fucking American League record to begin with.
And that's the bigger issue I have. It's like, why is it that important that they're cutting into other sports? Because it's not.
Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares.
Right. So why are they doing it?
Most people didn't even know it was the
yeah.
American League record they were going through. Most
The
people
last
thought
time
like
they
he's going for
started
the
to
whole
cut
6
through was because of the Barry Bonds thing. That was the
Right.
last time they started cutting in
That
the
was
game.
the last time.
Now they're
cut
trying to
through.
make it like it's the same big deal as Barry
Right.
Bonds.
You are reading
They
these
are.
people's comments
I don't read comments
because they are fucking
is just my
casual
personal
fans who are being
I'm
thrust
sitting there
into this
watching
world.
ESPN, watching college football, having them cut into Aaron Judge, get 4 pitches that nobody's going to fucking pitch to him.
Yeah, we all know.
Acting like it's a fucking home run record for like the entire sport of baseball. This
It
is
is
like
a home run record.
for the AL.
Yep.
Who gives a shit? It's not the all-time record.
People care.
The casual baseball fan, the casual fan doesn't give a
No one
shit.
cares.
Nobody
We were
fucking cares.
We were just on this episode when we last recorded it, and you and I, other than Morgan, both agreed it was exciting to watch.
It's cool for me because I like baseball. I like history. I like seeing history. But the rest of the world, college football fans, you think those people down south give a fuck about Aaron Judge hitting a home run?
No, but it's a pull to try and get new viewers. You have to understand
They're-
that.
I understand that. They're acting like it's the all-time record. It's fucking not. That's my
Not,
point.
though.
They all
They're literally leading it, saying like the AL record.
All right.
People who don't understand what the fuck AL and NL the difference is, that's on them.
Listen, the only time that in my lifetime that they've cut in for fucking at bats is Barry Bonds going for the all-time home run record, not for an AL record, not for a
They did it for Mark McGwire too.
But still, he was going. I mean, he went
all-time record, all-time, not
like
AL.
Like, what does it matter?
A lot.
Why?
I'm not going to get my point across, so it's okay.
Why? No, but why do you care so much that they're cutting into a college football game?
Because they're acting like it's a humongous deal.
It's still, this is a record that has stood for 61 years.
Sure, for the AL, but you want to know what? Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa broke the actual single season home run record years ago, 20 years ago.
If you're Major League Baseball and you're trying to get new viewers to watch your game, and there's an event happening that hasn't happened in that league in 61 years, do you not think this might be the correct time to try and get some new viewers?
Well, first off, cutting into people's college football is not the way to do it.
Fuck college football. Doesn't fucking mean anything.
Oh, you're in the wrong area, my friend.
But it doesn't, though. It doesn't.
For you,
what does it really matter?
You are above the Mason-Dixon line. You've never grown up with college football.
Sure, yeah, we're not in the South. I get it. I've seen Friday Night Lights. I understand how rowdy the
college football.
Do you understand that there's an entire Midwest and West Coast and down south of this country?
I've seen a map before.
Okay, all right,
I get it.
The only place that like actually gives a shit about Aaron Judge doing this is the state of New York.
And baseball fans. I care. I've watched every single game that he's played so far to try and break that record.
Okay.
You're gonna tell me I didn't watch them?
No, I have given my point. I have screamed enough. I am done. So
it's incorrect. Like, people care.
I think
more people care.
But
more people care than you think.
I don't think so.
If they do. I think this and Albert Pujols' thing were both big this year.
I think, I mean, to a degree, I think Pujols hitting 700 is a bigger deal than I would have rather them cut in for Pujols going for 700 rather than an AL record, which is still 12 home runs behind the all-time record, cutting in for every at bat. That's just me personally, but whatever.
But you can appreciate the mindset that people have where, like, look, there was some shit that happened in the steroid era of baseball that some people might not agree with.
Okay, well, those people are wrong and idiots, so.
Correct.
Because you can appreciate that mindset.
I can't, though, because they're fucking morons.
You can't even acknowledge that thought exists.
The thing is,
I can acknowledge it exists, but it's wrong.
Yeah, the thing is, for me, when it comes to that whole shit, is nobody talks about the players that were on the fucking juice that couldn't hit a fucking baseball, or all the pitchers that were on the juice that couldn't throw a strike. So at the end of the day, you're playing the competition you're going against. People were putting needles in each other. Mark McGwire was doing interviews with the fucking Andro and back him in the locker. Like, you know what? Mark McGwire could still hit a baseball. Sammy Sosa could. Bonds could. This record, it's incredible what Aaron Judge did. It's the single greatest bet on yourself season of all time. But besides that, like him hitting, if he does get to 62, who fucking knows if he actually does? Like, I think it's cool because I like to see stuff like that. But them cutting in for every at bat, making it as big of a deal as they're trying to convey to the entire country.
Wow. They're not making it as big of a deal as Barry Bonds.
It's because it's not as big of a deal.
That's what I'm saying. So it's isolated.
I don't
watch channels. Barry Bonds, dude, you were watching Disney Channel and they broke into it.
Well, yeah.
No.
But
this is not as big as that, and they are treating it the way they should. You don't want to watch history. You don't want to watch a record be broken. Like,
I just said, I do.
A sport that's on a decline that pressed it up. So what the fuck is the argument?
But like Disney Channel,
you're like, oh, why are they cutting into college football games? Who the fuck cares, dude? It's a split screen. They're not taking over the entire screen.
I mean, I can tell you who cares.
You can't still watch
college football fan bases.
You can't point your eyeballs.
Here's the thing.
How many people I talked to today that were so annoyed that they cut into baseball?
Here's what I'm telling you.
Football games?
Yeah, really quick. Here's what I'm telling you right now. The entire fan bases of, let's just say, they cut into the Alabama versus Arkansas game. The combined amount of fan bases for both of those schools is more than the fucking baseball fans in this fucking country that actually give a shit about that record. One thing.
What does it matter? You could still see the game.
I'm just saying, because you're telling me all these people care, but more people care about college football than baseball.
Sure, but it's the draw. They're trying to get new people to watch and be excited about something. Who cares? Are you really like you're gonna sit there and like a football screen goes half screen and you're gonna be like that fucking aggravated that you have to move your eyes a little to the left to watch a game? Get the fuck out of here. Dude.
Ask Matt when
irrational.
No, it is irrational. But ask Matt when they cut away because of the bullshit media rights from the regular season. I think it was like week 7. It was Green Bay versus Indy. They cut away because that was all they were allowed to show. Yeah. And I lost my shit.
He threw a controller against the wall in the basement.
It was a
Nick,
TV.
I know we went over 9 minutes of your time, so we're going to let you go. We can pick this up Thursday if we want, or we could just never talk about it again because this argument was fun.
I think you're being irrational.
I don't think so, but that's okay.
It's not that big of a deal.
Right.
You're right.
No.
The record is not that big of a deal.
Well, that too, sure. But it is something to market. You'd be fucking dumb to not market it. Why would you not?
I think baseball has shot itself in the foot enough in its marketing. Let people retweet things, let people make highlights. I don't feel bad for baseball.
That was never.
I mean, baseball.
If they wanted to grow their market, they'd let people use highlights and shit.
Right. Yeah. Well, listen,
become a little more lenient.
This is a whole other argument. Nick, I know you have to go to your tattoo consultant appointment. You gotta go.